Hi, I'm Rob Bob. Welcome to 3minutedaily.com. Normally we try to give you a video 3 to 4 minutes. Today's subject requires a little more time. Please watch. I believe this is very important. We're going to discuss the incidents in Benghazi, Libya. One of the reasons that this is so important is 4 Americans died, and the question has become whether or not they were allowed to die or if something could have been done to prevent their deaths. Ambassador Stevens, shown here, and I show this because I want you to understand the severity of this incident. Let's talk about some events that led up to this. So in March of this year, the State Department says publicly that Libya is very fertile for terrorism. I think that establishes the fact that our government knew that the circumstances in Libya could create acts of terror. Then in May, the British consulate shut down after a bombing attack, leaving the United States as the only presence left in Libya. So after May, the United States consulate was the only presence left in Libya. And then in the month of June, you had 3 separate attacks happen in the area, and another one come August. Now, Ambassador Stevens wanted the fast response teams to stay there through September, and his requests were ignored, and a lot of protection was actually removed from Libya. So now the question is, was the president ever briefed on the situation? The State Department said 6 months prior that Libya was a hot spot for possible terrorism. Stevens' request for the fast teams to stay in Libya, you have to almost believe, I mean, it's got to be a fact that Hillary Clinton, Secretary of State, was advised of that communique, but was it ever passed along to the president? Not sure about that, but somebody made a decision not to honor Ambassador Stevens' request for security to stay. So now we get to September 11th, 2012. It's September 11th, 2012, and about 3:30 Eastern Standard Time, the consulate became attacked, or was under attack, and within 30 minutes a mass email sent to all pertinent departments of the government, including the CIA, the Pentagon, the White House, the Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense. Okay, this communication could not have been overlooked by anybody. Okay, the president at the time was in the White House. So the question becomes, which, not if, but which department brought this to the attention of the president? So we have an attack on the consulate in Libya. Not anticipated. You would think if there were a series of events leading up to this that they would be able to anticipate it. But the fact is there were no protesters at the Benghazi consulate prior to the attack, even though President Obama and others repeatedly said the attackers joined an angry mob that had formed in opposition to the anti-Muslim film that had triggered protests in Egypt and elsewhere. The State Department disclosed this fact October 9th, nearly a month after the attack. Also, Libya President Mohammed Magharif insisted on September 16th, 5 days after the attack, that it was a planned terrorist attack, but administration officials continued for days to say there was no evidence of a planned attack. This administration was in complete denial and in cover-up mode, and they were lying to you, the American citizens. What were they trying to hide? Okay, so a communique has been sent to all these offices in Washington. At 6:07 p.m., the State Department's Operations Center sends an email to the White House, Pentagon, FBI, and other government agencies that said Ansar al-Sharia has claimed credit for the attack on its Facebook and Twitter accounts. So within 2 hours of the communique being sent that they were under attack, a known terrorist organization claimed responsibility. 2 hours. But for nearly 6 weeks, the president claimed that it was not a terrorist attack. How is this? So here we are 2 hours after the attack. It's 6 o'clock in the evening Washington time. We know from the published itinerary for the White House that President Obama was in the White House that day. So it's reasonable to believe that the White House Situation Room would have been up and running at full strength during that period. So we need to ask the question, where was the president in the White House? He received this information undoubtedly. Did he go to the Situation Room? A lot of reports say that that is where he is, and that while in the Situation Room, he just watched, did not issue any executive orders, did not fulfill his duty as Commander-in-Chief, and uphold his oath to the Constitution to do something to protect American lives. September 11th is over. 4 Americans have died serving their country. Now we need to talk about how the administration reacted after that day. The president made a speech in the Rose Garden the following day, claims to have called it a terrorist attack, but if you actually read the transcript, he does nothing of the sort. He uses the word terror, but not in the proper context regarding this event. September 15th, he makes a radio address to the country, never once referring it to as an act of terror. September 16th, he sends U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Susan Rice, to the TV talk show circuit, and she says there's no evidence that the attack was pre-planned and that it happened spontaneously. Well, later we find out that that's just not true. Then, September 18th, President Obama has a scheduled interview with David Letterman. So, on late night, the president attempted to blame this attack on an angry mob reacting to a video. Let's listen to what he said.
Here's what happened. You had a video that was released by somebody who lives here, sort of a shadowy character, who is an extremely offensive video directed at Muhammad and Islam, making fun of the Prophet Muhammad. This caused great offense in much of the Muslim world. But what also happened was extremists and terrorists used this as an excuse to attack a variety of our embassies.
So, 7 days later, the president is still blaming this incident on an anti-Muslim video. He was lying. He was lying to you, the American people. This is a perfect example of the kind of leadership that we've been offered over the last 4 years under President Obama. The man had no experience going into this job, and his actions during the attack and the 7 days after show that he, number one, does not care about American lives. He had the ability to do something, and he did not. And then he treats you, the citizen, as ignorant and believes that he can get on national TV and lie and you're going to just swallow it. Okay? I think that he looks down on us and doesn't think that we're fully capable of understanding what exactly happened. So here we are days before the election, and President Obama is running for re-election. The question that we all need to answer, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, is, are we going to let this type of behavior in the White House continue for another 4 years? We have way too many problems here at home, and we need a president that has foreign policy under control, is not afraid to make a decision, and has America's citizens' interest at heart. Okay? We cannot take care of our own problems if we have the world looking at us as weak, undetermined, and with no backbone. You guys need to look in the mirror and ask yourself why you would vote for this man again. Okay? It's not about what he's going to do for you. Okay? It's about what he's going to allow to happen to us. Take a look at a lot of these memes that I'm going to post here at the end of the video, and this will get you an idea of how a lot of people perceive and are expressing themselves about this incident. I believe it's an American tragedy, and I believe that the president is going to have to answer a lot of questions whether he's reelected or not. All this information is on the web, and you can find it yourself. It's fully documented. This was not opinion, these were just all facts. God bless America, and thanks for watching.
We are now in the 8th week since the attack on the consulate in Benghazi on September 11th of this year. And in that 8-week period, we are yet to get any kind of a coherent accounting from the President of the United States with respect to what he knew beforehand, what his activities were on the day that the attack occurred, and how he responded after the fact. And these are absolutely pivotal issues when you consider that just a few days from now, he's standing for re-election as President of the United States. And he already swore an oath to not only uphold the Constitution, but to protect and defend the lives of American diplomats and others around the world. And I can say with reasonable confidence that the president will do everything in his power to remain absolutely dead silent on this issue until after the election next Tuesday, and however long it takes afterwards to determine what the actual outcome of the election is.